All right, 14 is it's a square. All the sides are equal. And we've got all square corners, all 90-degree angles, all right angles. Okay, it's a quadrilateral. We got four sides. Is it a rectangle? We've got the 90-degree angle part. Are the opposite sides equal? Equal? Equal. It is a rectangle. Okay. Parallelogram. Do we have two pairs of parallel sides? There's one pair. There's two pairs. Yes, it is a parallelogram. Rhombus. Do we have all equal sides? Yep, we could also call it a rhombus. Trapezoid. We already said that if it's a parallelogram, it can't be a trapezoid. We've got more than one pair of parallel sides, so it's not a trapezoid. Square can be many different things. Keep that in mind. It can be labeled a lot of different things. Now, this right here, all the sides are equal. Okay, this is your classic rhombus. Okay, it can't be a square because we don't have the right angles, and it can't be a rectangle because we don't have the right angles. But it can be a rhombus because all the sides are the same. Quadrilateral, definitely. So parallelogram, I would say that my drawing's pretty bad, but I would say that that side is parallel to that side. If I drew this right, I think I did. And then I would say that this side is parallel to this side. So I would say that it is definitely a parallelogram. Now the last one we have is trapezoid, and it's definitely not a trapezoid if it's a parallelogram because we have too many pairs of parallel sides. So to finish here, all we've got for this one is, this is what your classic rhombus is going to look like. No right angles, but all the sides are equal. It is a parallelogram, and it is a quadrilateral. Now, before we get to the very last question, I just want to give you some examples of what these shapes look like in general, okay? You know that a lot of these shapes could be called different things, and we just went through that and you saw that. But typically, your square is going to look like this, which you all know, and your rectangle is just kind of an elongated square, just a stretched out square. A lot of times you're going to see a parallelogram look like this, and a lot of times I think of a parallelogram as being kind of a tilted rectangle, okay? Now, remember, a rectangle and a square are still parallelograms, but this thing is what a typical you're going to see in a book, you're going to see around. This is what's called a parallelogram, but these are parallelograms too. A typical rhombus is probably going to look like a diamond shape, okay? All the sides are always the same, but you never have those right angles. So it's almost like a parallelogram was a tilted rectangle. A rhombus is usually seen as kind of like a tilted square, okay? And then your trapezoid, you usually see a couple different kinds. These are what you see. This is what you would call like a right trapezoid because it's got a right angle in it. Regular trapezoid, but you just have to remember that we've got one pair of parallel sides. The top and bottom are always parallel, and the other two sides are not. Those are just kind of what your standard looking shapes are going to look like, but just remember that in any given occasion, a lot of these shapes can be more than one thing. All right, 23 is these states. We got Nevada and we got Arkansas, and I've just kind of done a rough sketch of both. There's some bumps in there for each one, but this is what they generally look like, okay? I'm just going to go down the line here. I'm going to skip A for now. B, squares. They're definitely not squares because we don't have all right angles. All the sides are not the same. Rectangle, opposite sides, they're not equal, so it can't be that, and we don't have all right angles. We have some right angles. This is a right angle, and so is this. This is a right angle, and so is this. But all of them have to be right angles to be a square or rectangle. What else do we have? Rhombus. Rhombus, all the sides have to be equal. It's not a rhombus. That leaves us back with A, trapezoid. It's definitely a trapezoid because we have one pair of parallel sides on both. Our parallel sides for this one are this side and this side. Those are parallel. And our parallel sides on Arkansas are this and this. So our answer to the last one is definitely a trapezoid. It's only got one pair of parallel sides, so your answer is A.